Photoshop 3D. And I've created some cool looks here, and some just regular PNG files that are already 3D. You can change the colors on it. You can drop it into your subject, just no fuss at all. Also, you can go into 3D and workspace, and you can take those same letters, and we have an editable file that you can go and move it around. You can change the font, you can change the number, letter, whatever you want, type a whole name if you like. And that way you can go ahead and create something, you know, yourself. It's a little bit more in depth to do that, but we're going to stay on the surface of it and not get too crazy. But I'm pretty excited about this, and let me show you what we have. And first of all, we've got, this is our whole product line. There's 3 fonts or styles in here. Now the first one is a kind of a metal style texture that I created, and this is actually, it has a little bit of a 3D look, but it's not really 3D. I'm going to show you how you can use that with 3D, and how you can make it work. But a lot of times you just need this, and just make it work just like it is. You know, you can also do this metal one here, and watch this. We'll rasterize that layer style, and what I mean by that is I'm going to lock this in, because I can't do a blending mode, you see, because I just went and did a blending mode, and it won't do anything because of this you know, style that's on here. So that's basically determining, all these effects are determining what it will do. But if I click here, go right click and go and rasterize layer style, I make that a static object. So that is now merged, and it cannot be changed unless you go back in history. But just for kicks and grins, let's try this. Let's go with soft light. See how you can change that little, it's kind of cool. Just little things that you can do there. Go to hard light. Oh, that looks kind of cool too. Go to multiply. See, that's really cool. And you can come in here. Now, you can also put a mask on that, and get you a paintbrush. All right, so here is the basic PNG file. Can't do anything to it. You know, it is what it is. It's on a transparent background. You can drop it in, whatever. So let's go and I'll go to this Mount Olympus background, which is a background that's on my website, SturdyVinci.com. As you can see, I use a lot of this kind of images. This is kind of the Justice League look. It's got the H, the Justice League font with the H, he's strong. And as you can see, I use a lot of 3D here in my lettering as far as this H goes. And this H is, people have been wanting that H to be able to reproduce it in other letters, and now we can't. All right, so I'm going to turn that off, and here's just basic background. I got the front rock, got the sky. I've also got the HS copies in the back, and that's kind of like that embossed texture that makes it look like it's actually been carved out of the, you can put that on stone and it look like it's carved out of stone. A lot of people don't really know about styles. You know, you look here, you look at those styles, they can just broaden your whole world as far as your design abilities. And so I encourage you to start playing around with styles, because you can do some really cool stuff. So I'm going to turn that back off. I'll close that front rock. Sky layers. So now I've got my go post. I've got my my hue saturation, just to desaturate that, and then here's my dark sky. All right, so I'm going to click here right in front of the go post, and I'm going to go get my HPNG. I'm just going to drag it, and I'm going to bring it into this Mount Olympus, and I'm going to pop it right there. Now I'm going to get Command T, make it bigger, hit OK, and now, of course, obviously that's it's too much, you know, it's just too much of a contrast. But what if we took that and we put that in soft light mode? All right, now put a mask on it. We'll take our little paintbrush, make sure you always use the soft round. We're painting with black on a white mask, and we fade that off into the clouds. Looks pretty cool already, but let's do one more. Now, what did I do? I put that in a blending mode of soft light, so that it would blend into the background. I'm going to keep it there, and I'm going to go Command J and make another copy, which is going to allow that to be a little bit more prominent. But then I'm going to feather up on the mask and see what I made a mistake, and you'll make it too. Make sure you're on the mask, because if you do this, you're going, what happened? What happened? And you'll go too many steps. You'll have to go back in history and lose some work. So we'll go Command Z, click on the mask. All right, now we just fade that off. It looks like it's fading into the sky. Now we can come over here and let's get this player. Now here's one of our Heath promotional players with an H on his chest, and we can bring this and drop him in right there. Now we could set him on the rocks like that, or we could bring him in front of the rocks. We can hit Command T. These files can be, I don't want to raise the rocks. I dropped them in the rocks. And you'll do that too. See, I do that stuff all the time. Command T. All right, now I'm going to make it a little bigger. All right, hit OK. We got some smoke in front of him. I can make that smoke a little stronger by duplicating it, Command J, and just kind of fade him into there. And now we've got a pretty cool looking H that's blended into the back. Now, on this particular uniform, this is their whiteout uniform, which doesn't have any black or white. It's just all gray. So we could, well, it's got black numbers. I'm sorry. Let's see. No, it's got gray numbers. I'm sorry. Anyways, go back to the Mount Olympus. Now, we can go here and we could take and put both of those H's, highlight them, hold your shift key, and click on each layer. Go Command G and put that in a folder and do H. Now we can come over here and we can get our hue saturation. Take our saturation all the way down. Click on our layers and hold our Option key down and click and clip that mask to that folder. And then only that H will be, actually desaturated. Now, you can play around with it. You can come up here. Maybe you want to go 20% on opacity. Make it fade into that. All kinds of things you can do. Whatever you want to do. So, but that would be the best way to do that at this point. Now, let's go and let's throw this one away. Let's throw the mask away. And let's go back and we'll put that layer in normal mode. And I want to show you how to change the color. There's a couple different ways you could do that. But it's better to show you actually in the environment that you're going to be working instead of just the regular file. Now, we got a couple options here. We can go and we can go to Image, Adjustments. We can go to Replace Color. Okay. Now, I'm going to sample on this red. And then I'm holding my Shift key down. And I'm going to sample on the red on the side. And I am going to try to get as much of that as I can. And I've got a lot of it. Now, I'm going to take my fuzziness. And I'm going to bring it up till I see the whole beveled edge. And then just when this black starts to get gray there, I'm going to back it away and go back to black. Now I have only the bevel showing around there. Now here's my color and here's my options. I can actually take this hue and I can change it and move it. Go to blue. Bring up saturation. I can make it lighter. I can make it darker. I can really make it low key if I want. All kinds of things you could do. And it's all by just highlighting this colors on the red here and making sure you get a good selection in your replace color. And then you can change your hue to whatever your color is. Now I can click here and I can go, I want to go here. That's an easier way to do it. And because all you could do is, but you want to be able to use these these sliders as well. So I'm going to take this all back to 0. So I'm going to click here, and I'm going to go blue. There we go. I'm going to go gold, yellow, go to orange, different kinds of orange. Just play around with that. Go to gray. We can go to, I mean, I don't know who's got that kind of color on their football uniforms, but you know, whatever floats your boat. And go hit OK, and there, it's that simple. And hit OK, and now it's changed. But here's the problem: if you leave that changed, it's good if you know exactly what you're doing, and if it's the correct color. I would save that in another file just so that for your school that you would need that. But you don't have the ability to change that right here. So if we go here and we look at all our adjustment layers, we got selective color, and we come through here. We got color balance, hue saturation, brightness contrast levels, exposure, and vibrance. And selective color you can change as well, but I'm going to show you a different way where you have a lot more options. Okay, now this replace color works really, really well, so I would encourage you to do so. So I'm going to go back into history. Just be careful that, you know, once you save it, that's going to be locked in, but it's only going to be locked in this file. It'll always be read in your master file that you got with Sir Da Vinci. So now I'm going to come over here and I'm going to go to let's see, I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to go to layer, new fill layer, and I'm going to go to solid color. Now I am going to click down here at the bottom where it says mode. Now these other ones color, that's just so you can label the layer. Opacity, I'm going to leave it 100%. You can name it whatever you want. It's usually color fill 1. I'm going to go where it says normal, and I'm going to click, and I am going to go and put hue. All right, and I'm going to hit OK. Now it's going to choose whatever color that I have, my last color that I had selected on my color picker. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click, and the same way I did with the replace color, I'm just going to pick on this little color wheel where I want my color at, and I can change that. Now the hue, the beautiful thing about the hue is that, and you change it to the orange, is that it will not color the black as much. Now if you went up here and changed it to color, hold on, let me clip this. You will want to clip this to your subject. Okay, so I forgot to tell you that. Take this layer, hold your Option key down, click there. Now go up here to color on your blending mode of your layer. Now that's all the way up at your layers palette. Okay, so if you're at your layers palette here, you've got where it says normal or dissolve, darken, multiply, whatever. You can blend the layer. You're going to want hue for this purpose. But if you want to choose color, you can choose color also. It does a very good job. Here's the difference. If you look in between where the black is, that black is not pure black. So if there is any gray in there, it's going to tint it orange. Now, the black that's on the front is a pure black, so it may be tinted a little bit, but it's not going to be noticeable. It actually would help. But I would recommend going to hue, and you see that it makes a big difference there. Now, also, let's say that maybe you want your letter to be bright, and you don't have the ability to go in and do the beveled stuff. Go over here to your adjustment layers, and go to levels. And just click it and come back before you make an adjustment. Well, if you do it in between the layers, it'll automatically clip. Go back to your properties and just you can bring your highlights over, your slider to the left, make it a little brighter, and you can bring your shadows to the right, bring it a little darker, and you could pop that thing out a little bit, give it a little bit more punch. Go over here, go to my layers. And if I go turn that on and off, see the difference? I can make it pop. So there's a couple little things that you can do to make that look good. You can also throw textures over this if you want. It's up to you. Now, let's say if you wanted a texture, let's go and I'm going to make another layer. I'm going to hold my Option key down, click there, and I'm going to put this layer in soft light mode. I'm going to choose white, and I am going to go, let's say you have a texture like let's say some concrete texture. All right. Now I need to be at 100%. And see, right now you can't really see anything because it's in soft light mode, but if I go back up here to normal, so you can see that I'm painting. You can make a little texture on there. Now, I'm not worried if it has a pattern to it at this moment because I'm going to go to soft light. And it's just a very subtle texture to that. If we zoom in, as you can see, it's very easy to kind of make it weathered or make it look like stone. Whatever you want to do, you can actually go in and do that. Now, you can also click here on the next layer and do another blank layer, click a new layer, and change it to black. And this is normal mode. Let's get another one. Let's get this metal texture. All right, and we're going to take that. We're going to go soft light. Now, again, it made it a little bit darker, but you can go in and you can see that it added a little texture to that. A lot of times when I make all my football players look like they've been playing a whole game, I'll weather the suits a little bit, put dirt on it. This is how I do it. So anyways, I just wanted to show you those little options. So it's easy to change color. I would encourage you to go with this mode here on this color, new fill layer, okay, solid color, because you can change your color on the fly, okay. Now that's in hue mode. Hue blending mode, so it only changes the red. Everything else is black. So we can go here. We can keep changing it and do whatever we want. We got F1. Okay, so this is basically the ladder that I created, and it's edible in this document. Now, but if you go and you open it up and you go, oh, why not? What's wrong? I don't see the 3D. You will want to go make sure it says 3D right here, because you don't want to rasterize this, and it'll have all its information, the materials that are involved on it. But you'll want to hit your move tool, and all of a sudden your plane will start to show up, and you can go in and make these different changes. Now, you will want your 3D workspace showing. Now, I have mine already here. You can get up here, you can go to your window and click on 3D and open that workspace, and you'll want your properties showing, because you're going to be able to work on this different stuff here. But before we get into all that, let's show you how to move it around, okay? So I'm going to click there. Now, you see down here at the bottom, you got your little globe. Now that globe can help you turn it around, right? Okay. This little plus can move it up and move it up and down. This little arrows going back and forth can make it smaller, can make it larger, okay? You have so many options with this, all right? Now, here you can tilt it. It's a little touchy here, so you got to be careful. Now, when you hit that center one, see that one right there rotates it. Okay, so in that axis there. Now you see these arrows on the end. We can move it that way. Kind of what you can do over here, up and down. Okay, hit this third one here. I can make it wider, thinner, taller, shorter. Here, make it bigger. Come here and move it. And if I want to go upwards and I want that to be up in the sky, there we go. So I've got that. That's pretty cool. I can have it floating in the sky with an upward perspective. You know, I can even I can put it down on the ground if I have a shot and say you want to stand on a ladder and shoot down on somebody. You can actually do that as well. You can actually type out their whole name and have them setting on their name, which is really cool. And, you know, with enough practice and enough rendering, you can make it look really realistic. So we can just pull this up here. Okay. Now, same with this one. That's a PNG. Hold on. Get rid of that. Here's the other one. No, I didn't open. I just opened that one. Okay. So this will be good. And so I can put that there. Now, go back to my layers. And I can take that. We can export 3D layer if we want. We can okay, so we got that. I'm good to go. And now I think we're going to go with that right there. All right, so now that I've got that, I want to open up my 3D workspace, and I want to change the font. All right, so I'm going to click here, and I'm going to open up my properties. Now, as you see here, I want to change it from a F to an H, but I can't do that because it's 3D and it can't be rasterized, but it's actually a smart object, so I can go right here where my properties are at, and I have to be on the highlighted on this H here. This letter was originally an H, so it maintains that it used to be an H. So I'm going to hit Edit Source. It's going to create that letter in another file, HPSB, which is it used to be an H, so just don't get confused by that. I'm going to click on my text, and I'm going to highlight that, and I'm going to put H in there. Now, this is very important. Once you make this change, you don't even have to click on your layer. You have to save it, or it will not make the change in your other file. So I'm going to go Command Save. All right, now let's go back and let's look at that. That's an H now. See? If I go back, there's an F and there's an H. So now I changed it to an H and it's no problem. And here's this temporary file that's opened up here. And let's get rid of it. We're going to use that actually. So let me get rid of that. Let me get rid of this. We don't need that anymore. And we just got this H here. Now, all right, so we come back, click on our move tool, and see if we can turn it. Look at that. Is that not cool? We could play around with all we want. Okay. All right there. Now, I'm good with that. But let's say you didn't want to change the colors in Photoshop. You want to do something different. Let's go and take this one step further. Now, if we got properties, I want you to look at something. When you're on the H, you're going to see some general properties where we edit source, okay? And that's going to be very important to you for you to be able to change that. We've got catch shadows, which we can check. Now, this is up in the air, so the catch shadows will be there, but the cast shadows won't. But if it's on the ground, you'll want to cut those. If it's up in the, you don't want the cast shadows on the ground, cut them off. You can create your own shadows, but I usually keep them on there. All right, so shape preset. Now, we open this up. Here is what it looks like standard. This is just a regular bevel.